holy shit, he was fucking serious. And like, and that's exact how, like, that's the presidency in a fucking nutshell right there.
Alright, let's see if we're live.
Rockin'.
Check this.
Rockin' in live stream health.
You are live. Live stream health. Where'd you see that at?
There.
Okay, so green is good.
Elapsed time, 15 seconds. 0 people watching. That's the way we like it.
Yeah, well,
I mean, of course, you know.
we could probably, like, share it right now.
Tweet that we're live.
Like, I mean, you can actually probably go to the page, and there's probably a link you can share. Yeah, look, we're live right now, so I can do this. Share, I'll send it to you. Oh. Do I have it set to private? Oops. There we go. Public. Read. Share. Message.
I just tweeted Strange Plant Podcast is going live on
Why don't you
YouTube
put
right
the
now.
link? Hold on. I just sent you the link. Just copy and paste that link. Didn't actually send you the link. Oh, you can do it.
Mhm.
And I'll share it on. Share on my page.
Strange Plant
Tweak.
Podcast. Go to my page. Fucking pages on pages on pages on pages. How about that Spider-Man trailer?
It's not too
Not
shabby.
too shabby. I kind of liked it.
Alright, tweet that. And then I'll go to Facebook. This could be like 10 minutes in and we don't even have any video yet.
They can suck it.
Well, I just got the intro, the card up right now.
Intro card. Can they hear me?
Oh, yeah.
They can hear me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool. Good.
They can hear everything, they just can't see us.
White people are bringing down this country. Cool. Tweeted and retweeted and
I'm gonna post it on Facebook right quick.
Facebook.
We'll go live.
Yes.
It says Strange Planet Podcast test stream. Damn it. What are we on? 90.
5? I don't know. There's one
95.
person. One person's watching us. One person is watching us. I don't know if it's 95 or not. That was a guess. I think I'm right though.
5. What's our title? Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Far From Home. No, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Far From Good. Get people to click.
Yeah. Question mark? Make it enticing.
Ooh, we're good.
Woo!
All changes saved. We're good. Let me type this out. I can't type right now. Publish.
Shared on the Facebook. Everyone, all right, we are
We're good to go.
shared.
Let me pop the intro up.
Pop
here.
it up. Here we go. It's coming at you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Strange Planet Podcast.
transition. Hey,
Fired up, ready to go. Here we are.
Look through the window. I just trying to think of something.
The windows are the eyes to the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the eyes to like the brain.
Yeah.
Or the windows to the brain.
The windows are the eyes to the brain.
No, the eyes are the
That's what you
windows
just
to
said.
the brain.
Ladies and
everybody.
gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome
I
to
forgot
the
hit
strange.
record.
Oh no!
On this. That's okay.
Oh,
We're good.
all right, we're going. We're there. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Strange Planet Podcast, the strangest of all the podcasts on the strangest of all the planets. We are your hosts. This is
Corey James.
and I'm Anthony Zevatek.
Oh. I'm sorry, people. I'm new to this.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey,
there's
we got
our
the
names.
tags
Look
up
at that
there.
thing right there. That's you find me on Twitter.
Cool.
There it is. We are.
We're not new to the live streaming
No.
at all.
Yeah.
We do this
yeah.
stuff all the time.
If you couldn't tell, we told you at the beginning of the year we were going to be making this podcast better, and here we're trying to do it, and we're getting with it. How you doing, man?
I'm alright.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous.
I know.
This is weird.
It's new. I don't know where to look.
We got screens all around us. So you
Screens
guys
everywhere.
Don't see. There's two here. There's one over there. We got our cell phones.
We are screened up. Screening. Crack your beers if you're joining us.
We got lots to talk about today.
We have a really good show. Which actually a lot of topics came to us today.
Yeah, I heard a few days ago we were going to get the trailer, so
Oh, nice. I
glad
didn't,
we
oh.
did, because every time I've heard that we were getting the trailer, we haven't got it. So.
I know, yeah. It's always tough. We always are in that spot where it's like, Strange Planet Podcast, we record around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, and then, like, the trailers will get released at 9 when we're at home.
And then we gotta wait till next week to
Right,
talk
and then we
about
gotta
it.
wait a whole week. But this was great. Big time trailer dropped today, which I am very excited about.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. First, though, we're going to start off with our usual starting segment, Our Comics.
Ooh.
Oh.
Nothing this week?
I didn't get anything this week.
Wow, it's like the first week in a while you haven't got
I
something.
know, yeah. I figured I should take a break because
Spending
I
too
did
many dollar bills on
I,
the comic books.
I did yesterday. I was like, I didn't have, I was antsy. I didn't know what to do, so I reorganized my comic collection and kind of moved some things around and shuffled them, and so yeah, I did some comic
Make
work.
it feel good,
Yeah, I got a little
organized.
excellent work done. I see you have a stack sitting right here in front of us.
I got a big old stack.
I know, yeah.
I'm not gonna talk about the other ones on the Random Comic Books review.
Yeah, Corey had a great video this past weekend.
This past Sunday.
Check it out on the Suicide Moses Productions YouTube page. It was really good. It was a lot of fun.
I also do a little history on
I saw
Epic's
that.
comics.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Pretty cool.
That's a really cool thing.
The ones I did pick out, one I thought you'd be a
Very
little excited
nice.
for.
Very nice.
Thought it was a little weird just because you don't see Wonder Man all the time. You know
No,
what I
yeah.
mean? And just it's weird how that kind of stuff works. Like
Yeah.
you found one,
Oh yeah.
and then all of a sudden one pops up. I got a Wonder Man number 22.
Nice.
Lost Souls number 1.
Excellent. Great Mephisto there in the
Yeah, boy.
backdrop.
I'm just gonna hold it up for you guys because we're live.
Liven it up. Boom.
Pretty sweet. Pretty
That's
sweet.
it. It's a pretty cool comic. I like that.
Everybody's favorite Canadian X-Men team,
You gotta love it.
Alpha Flight.
I like a lot of things about Canada, including their X-Men team.
I love Alpha Flight. Everybody burns on Alpha Flight.
Alpha Flight, that's sick.
I love the Alpha
Get the
Flight.
Sentinels right there in the backdrop.
You got Puck. You got
North Star.
looks like North Star's
Yeah.
like wife.
Yeah, Lady North Star.
Yeah, I didn't know that she took the mantle at some point, but that's cool.
Yeah, very
That's
cool.
a number 43.
Nice.
And then I thought you would think this was pretty cool, just because I don't know anything about Power Pack, and
Yeah.
you had mentioned them before
Yes.
about being a cool movie
Yeah.
idea. And I just happened to get 3 issues of Power Pack.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Got a little Nightcrawler, guest starring Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler of the X-Men.
I like this one where they're helping out Spidey.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great. It's a great cover there.
And then we got a little space one.
Yeah.
Space lizards.
Space Lizards. Yeah, Power Pack's cool because it's that Teen Titans before Teen Titans kind of thing, and it's
Speaking of Teen Titans, I got a ton
I
of Teen
know. I
Titans.
saw that. You were raking in those Teen Titans.
It was a really good box.
Yeah.
Like, I got one modern era comic book and it was 2003.
Right.
So, like, is that modern anymore?
Not anymore.
But the rest of them were all 80s. I got one or two, like, early 90s.
Yeah.
And the guy that obviously went through and picked them out, obviously, like, kind of sent
Yeah,
me
I saw that.
groups of different stories rather than just one random one of each. Because I got, like, 6 issues of Teen Titans.
Do you like that? Would you
I haven't
prefer,
read through them yet.
I mean, do you prefer though getting like to get a chunk of an
Yeah,
arc rather than
definitely-
just?
I definitely prefer it. The cool thing is, though, he didn't, like, they're not in order or anything.
Right.
Like, the Teen Titans that he sent me were, like, 4, 6, 12, and 22.
Yeah.
So there's room for me to now start filling out those gaps. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
cool.
of something that I wasn't really looking for to begin with. You know
Right.
what I mean? So yeah, I do think that was pretty cool, especially the guy I was reading all the stuff about why he was selling, and
Yeah.
it didn't seem like he knew much about comics. He was just trying to get rid of them. So
Very cool. Very cool stuff. Our comics. We're also going to talk a little extra in the Our Comics section, but not about anything we got.
no,
We're going to kind of
a
answer.
bunch of a-holes.
We're gonna kind of address a theory, or yeah, I guess that would be the best way to say.
It's a largely accepted opinion
Yeah.
of a comic book era.
Yeah.
I read an article about why the 90s comic books are the worst era of comic books.
Yeah.
And, like,
Doesn't
and
make
I've heard
sense.
that a lot.
Yeah, well, it's
I've-
not the first time we've heard that or we've discussed that on this show. Tell us more.
Why do we have Bronze era comic books,
Yeah.
but you're going to say that the 90s modern era are worse than Bronze?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if you can get worse than Bronze.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
some of those ones that were coming out around that time era were really bad.
Now the bronze is it mid 40s to 60s? Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah,
And
I
then
would
the
believe
60s would be 60s to 80 would be silver,
silver, yes.
and then
And
80 to so on would be gold.
No, gold was 30s.
Oh, okay.
Or no,
gold.
that's platinum.
Okay.
Okay, so gold would be 80s to 90s.
Right.
And then 90s to
So
now, is
would be
modern.
the modern era. Right.
And I agree. Like,
Yeah.
2000s forward, you got a lot of
Questionable
garbage.
stuff. Right. Questionable
There's some
stuff.
good stuff, but that's a hard thing to sell too, because there's so much.
Right.
There's so much that it's like music nowadays. You can't
Mm.
say music nowadays sucks, because you probably haven't even heard a fraction of what is out there
Right.
with the internet, you know,
Correct.
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Comic books are the same way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, me and you have talked about it before. I don't believe the platinum era should be the platinum era
Right.
just because it's old.
Right. If anything, it should be the bronze era because it's so old.
Little patina.
Little infuego.
I don't know what that
I don't know what patina means.
Patina, like the brownish stuff that gets on metal after it ages.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that had a name. I thought it was just called the brownish stuff that gets on metal when it gets old.
Well, you said because it should be bronze because it's old.
Right.
The patina.
Patina. Yeah, I do not actively subscribe to this opinion. I think that, if anything, I think that the 90s were kind of the rejuvenation of the comic book era. Great storylines and great characters and great arcs. And, I mean, let's not all forget that Infinity Gauntlet is 1992.
Oh yeah.
You know, Infinity War to follow, Infinity Watch to follow that, and that's
The
amazing
Onslaught
stuff.
saga and
Yeah.
X-Men. Like,
Yeah.
There's so many good
Batman
storylines.
and Spawn were in the same comic book in the 1990s.
Yeah,
So
97?
it's something like that.
98?
So 96 maybe. So yeah, I think that the 90s were fantastic. It brought us the death of Superman. Like it brought us great things.
Are we biased because that's what we grew up with?
I don't think so because I actively search out comics from from even older than that. I if it's the 70s and the 80s, I'm all about getting it. but yet my heart still lies within the 90s for comics. Because yes, I guess in a sense, in a small way, I am a little bit biased because I did grow up with them, but that doesn't mean that it's not great.
Right.
Like I grew up with Michael Jordan. That doesn't mean that he's not the greatest basketball player of all time. It's not my fault that I grew up in that era.
Some of the things they said in that article were like, it was an over the top era, and it was like gigantic bodies, ripped people with their suits being insanely
over enhanced breasticles,
400 pouches all over there for no reason.
No, yeah, it was, but that was the times though. That was everywhere. It just wasn't comics, and that was comics adapting to everything. That was.
Well, my thing is people complaining about that, saying that pre that you had normalized features. You had skinnier people. You had regular looking people with kind of normal costumes, if you can have a normal costume. But the thing is, when I'm reading a comic book, I want it to be over the top and outraged. Why would I want it to be?
No, I don't want
normal real life.
I don't
shit.
want a comic about Ted down the street who hates his wife because she cheats on him all the time. I don't care about that. I want to hear the story about a big...
Actually sounds pretty good.
That does sound pretty good. We read a comic about a guy named Ted who just goes crazy, and that actually sounds really cool. Don't steal my idea, everybody out there. I think the 90s get a lot of flack, unnecessary flack. Just,
I do too, and I definitely am a little biased because I grew up with it, but at the same time, like you said, it's not like we're avoiding every other era and only focusing on the 90s and saying it's the best.
Right.
We actively search out. Like I love the 80s era of comic books. You've
been really getting into what I would call the modern era, the 2010.
Oh yeah.
That's
there's a lot of good stuff out right now.
Right.
So like if you actually actively search out that kind of stuff, I always bring up Seven to Eternity, but it's one of the greatest comic book arcs going on of all time.
I think one of the greatest things about the 90s that everybody fails to even think about is the boom of independent comics as well.
Yeah.
The 90s we had, it was just like Image and Epic. And it was just these comic companies that weren't big, but they were doing great things.
Mm-hmm.
And they were, pushing their way into the forefront of the spectrum. So, I think the 90s, in my opinion, the greatest.
Yeah, era. I think it was a melting point of everything that had come before it.
Yeah.
And the new generation stepping in and being like, yes, we love what you guys have done. We love your characters. We love all the stuff that has come before.
Yeah.
But we're going to take them... You have to take them in a new direction, and that's a hard thing to do.
Right.
You see that nowadays.
Yeah.
Comic book... Marvel doing it all the time, trying to take old characters in new directions and falling flat. But they actually did it very well in the 90s. They took a lot of those the X-Men... Like, the 90s X-Men...
Amazing.
That's what the X-Men are.
Right, and that's what, we're the animated series, and the animated series was kind of a reflection of the comic books, and
it was almost panel for panel. It was based on the new Uncanny X-Men from 90 to 93.
Yeah. So,
F all you haters
F
on
you
the
all,
90s.
if you don't like 90s eras comics, then get the fuck out of here. I'm just kidding.
The only people that are saying that are the dudes with, like, laminated #1 Detective Comics on their shelf and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like the 90s. It ruined comic books.
And I will all right. I will say one thing negatively about the 90s is that there was an oversaturation of the market.
Oh yeah.
Caused by the 90s. There was a thought that we wanted more than what we were getting, and we got it, but we didn't want it, and blah blah blah. And that was a negative aspect. But if oversaturation is your biggest problem with the 90s, then I'm sorry. Whatever, right?
You should be sorry.
Yeah, I shouldn't be sorry.
No, you should be sorry.
No, I should.
It's your fault.
I am sorry. Damn it, I'm sorry. Damn it. Moving on. Nothing on the radar this week. Nope. There we go. We got too much else to talk about. Coming up with Marvel news. Hey, we've been hearing about a Black Widow movie for a very long time, haven't we? It's been... Well, I mean, let's see. What year did...
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2 came out in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So, since 2010, we've been hearing
the first time we saw her, everybody was like, oh, we're gonna get a solo movie, and
Yeah.
then we didn't, and we
didn't.
didn't, and we
Time
didn't.
kept going on,
And
and
here
on
we
and on.
are.
Here we are in 2018, where it was announced last year that we would be getting a Black Widow solo movie. And now it's being reported that the Black Widow movie could possibly be rated R.
So I didn't read your source.
Yeah, I'm about to pull it up right now.
First impression of this rumor,
Rumor, right.
I
rumor.
don't see it happening.
Okay.
Not even a little bit. I
Okay.
don't even. Like, as soon as I read that headline, I went, no. Marvel's not going to dip their hands in that R.
So, the rumor comes from that hashtag show, which I've never listened to. I
Is
don't
that a
know.
podcast?
I would assume it is. Marvel has indeed given some consideration to a rated R movie, although it may come as some surprise that the film in question isn't related to the Merc with a Mouth, talking about Deadpool, of course, but rather the upcoming Scarlett Johansson headlined Black Widow solo movie.
It makes sense.
So the next line in this article is, now we'd advise taking this rumor with a healthy pinch of salt and fully expect Black Widow to stick to the MCU's PG-13 policy.
Right.
So, it would make sense for a Black Widow movie to be rated R.
Yeah, I mean, like, some of the darkest 5 seconds of each Marvel movie are Black Widow flashbacks, or her telling you about her past.
Right.
Like, those are some of the only points in the movies where you're like, yeesh, like where she's saying she can't have kids, and
Yeah.
because of and they show those flashbacks of her shooting someone in point blank in the head. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for them to push it to an R. Will they?
No.
No.
Especially, I think, with the news that was announced, I think it was yesterday or today, the news that we'll talk about here in a second. Yeah, I think it's just very unlikely that we're going to get a rated R MCU movie at all.
Yeah, well, with them pulling all these rights over from Fox, they're going to have to start thinking about R movies,
Mhm.
because they're pulling a lot of R movies over from Fox. But for something so big and so established as the MCU,
Yeah.
that they've made very solidly PG-13 throughout
Mhm.
the entire 10 years that they've been doing this,
Yeah.
and they haven't faltered, and they've been making boatloads of cash,
Yeah.
I don't see them thinking, oh, we have to make it R or we're not going to make money.
Right.
They could probably pull off a PG-13, a hard PG-13.
Yeah. It's going to
Like,
have to be pretty aggressively
What,
hard.
one shit,
One F word.
one F word,
One F word.
a lot of violence but no blood.
No blood. So let's talk. Let's speculate wildly right now. What Marvel property would you want to see as a rated R movie, other than Deadpool? We've already seen that. Get that out of your mind. Think of something else, maybe that we haven't seen, that you would want to see.
I was
that
talking
could
today
be rated R.
about Wolverine.
Yeah.
And what I would like to see happen in the future with Wolverine. I say, F the movies.
Yeah.
And I say, if you're starting the streaming service,
Right.
and you're pulling all these big names down out of the movies
Yeah.
and bringing them to the stream service, you got the Loki, you got the Scarlet Witch, you got the Mandalorian show, you got all these big names coming down into a streaming service. Give me a really, really raunchy, like, violent Wolverine
Yeah.
series.
That'd be cool.
Because there's so many amazing Wolverine storylines and villains and
Right.
that we've never seen. Out of all the X-Men movies that were basically Wolverine movies, they never hit any of those key bullet points.
Yeah.
Give me Wendigo.
Yeah.
Like, give me Wolverine
Omega-
versus Hulk. Give me
Omega
Omega
Red.
Red. Give me a legit Silver Samurai. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's so many stories that have never been explored with Wolverine, and with a streaming service show and doing it that way as a long-term idea, I think you could start with a young actor.
Yeah.
Start back in the time where he's in the military and he goes and gets recruited by Weapon X and does the first experiments, and he is living in the wilderness, and
Yeah.
he's in Canada in the mountains living, and he fights Wendigo and stuff like that. Like, give me that.
Right.
And, like, obviously, if it's a streaming service, you don't need to rate it R. you can do whatever you want.
Right.
You can make it as violent as you want. I'm down with that.
No, I agree. I would like to see, as far as a rated R Marvel property, and like you said, streaming service would be the ideal way to go. But I would kind of like to see Ghost Rider rebooted in a rated R kind of sense. I think that's an interesting character that you can get away with that.
Well, the problem with that is they have already had Ghost Rider in the Shield show.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, he's in the MCU already.
Technically, yes,
The MCU
but so are the
MCU proper. I'll say that.
Right. So are the
Not the
Kree.
MCU.
So are the Kree, but we don't talk about that. So
We're about to.
We're about to. Yeah, we're about to in a flashback. So I don't know what I don't know if there's any rules or anything. I don't know.
I just don't see big budget movies. I don't see them gambling off their PG-13. The streaming service, I don't see them doing that either, because you gotta think this streaming service is gonna be packed with Disney like cartoons and kids shows, and unless you have like a unless you have like a Netflix type thing where you can set the kids and you can set an adults,
right?
Which I would assume they'd have to do that. If they do that, then you could do a really badass, like some more hyper-violent adult.
Hyper-violent. Maybe a place for Punisher and Daredevil and...
That's what I was... When you said, what do I want? And I was thinking Punisher, but we're about to get like one of the most badass Punisher seasons of all time.
Yeah,
in like
which will be dropped
5 days.
3 days.
3 days.
3 days. So check out next week's Strange Planet podcast to hear our thoughts
I'm
on
thinking Netflix back again.
Season 2 of
They
The
just
Punisher.
canceled it.
I know.
Like last week.
You son of a bee sting. Next up in the Marvel news is the big news of the day. Big radioactive Spider-Man. The Spider-Man Far From Home trailer that we have been waiting ever so patiently for finally dropped.
Teaser trailer.
Was it a teaser?
It says real big on it, teaser, but it was 3 minutes long.
I know.
So
that's
I don't
what
know
I'm
what
saying.
a teaser
like,
is
yeah,
anymore
right.
nowadays.
Yeah, what are you teasing? You're giving me everything. Now I did have a thought about this, and that maybe possibly that the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer is following the same formula as the Avengers Endgame, where they're only showing us a small part of what's going to happen in the beginning of the movie.
No, because they show you. Well, we're getting into it right now. We'll get into so we saw a lot.
We did see a lot. We saw a ton.
You can't show him in New York leaving his suit behind, and then show him in London in the hotel room in the dart in Ned's neck, and then meeting Nick Fury, and then you see him in the black suit, and then you see him like he's got that's a lot of time.
You're right. Well, what if the main meat and potatoes were only getting of the beginning, which is what we're going to talk about here in a second.
Right.
So we open up the trailer with Peter Parker, and it is not yet established whether we're pre-snap or post-snap.
No, they're not going to let you know that until.
And I think it's pre-snap.
I told you it was pre-snap.
I think it's pre-snap.
I've been calling that since the end of Infinity War, where everybody's like, "Oh, how are you gonna have a Spider-Man? And he's dead." And I'm like, it's prequel, man.
I think when the movie opens, we're gonna get like a black screen, white text, and it's gonna say before the decimation.
It's gonna be like 6 months before
the decimation.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're Peter Parker is getting ready for a class field trip to Europe. And he doesn't want Spider-Man to go.
Yeah, Aunt May says, make sure you pack your suit.
Yeah.
But we don't know. I got a weird feeling that she was like, I know she knows he's Spider-Man now at this point.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if she was saying, like, make sure you pack your suit like a regular suit, like a real suit.
No, I think she obviously means the Spider-Man suit.
See, I got the feeling that she was saying, like, make sure you pack your suit, but it made him think of,
I think
should I bring my Spider-Man
I think
suit?
she meant the Spider-Man suit. I think she's all about it.
And he doesn't.
He doesn't. But if you watch the
Rookie
international trailer, which I did today, it ends up in his suitcase anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which was a real big difference.
Oh, and there was a note.
Yes.
So Aunt May put it in there.
Obviously.
Okay.
So yeah. So then he's in Europe, and we're gonna start flushing out this kind of relationship between Peter Parker and MJ, which I'm actually kind of excited for. I kind of like to see. I'd like to see where it's going to go. I know it's not Mary Jane Watson. I know that. I understand. But
at least it's an MJ.
At least
and
it's an MJ.
They're finally pushing this character that I have not fallen in love with yet into the territory of what I do love about Spider-Man.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm very anxious to see that.
Yeah. So then, after we get into that kind of a little bit, we have a scene where we have Ned and Peter walking into their hotel room. Dart in the neck of Ned.
That was my favorite. That was great.
That was a great part. That was an amazing thing. Peter turns around and he sees Nick Fury sitting there.
Yeah. So
and he knows who Nick Fury is. He says when he looks at him, he says, "Oh my God,
he's like,
you're Nick Fury."
Right. Well, I mean, people know of these things. People know of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's been part of the Avengers kind of since Civil War at this point. He knows who.
Deadish.
Well, not that. Before. With Civil War.
Right.
I mean, he was involved in all this, but Nick Fury wasn't there for Civil War, was he?
No.
Okay. Anyway, he knows who he is.
Maybe Tony told him who he is. Black guy with an eye patch. If you ever see a black guy with an eye patch, his name is Nick Fury. And Nick Fury.
I got a question real quick.
All right.
How do you feel about them? Every time they do a solo movie now, it's not a solo movie anymore. It's an extension of the Avengers.
Yeah, it's a.
How do you feel about it not being a just solid, all about Spider-Man sequel, but we have to keep making sure that you remember that he's part of this bigger picture? Do you like that? Do you like that element of it, or do you? Because I got this weird feeling of like, man, I kind of wanted it to be a Spider-Man movie.
I like it. I like it with Nick Fury. If it was anybody else,
if Iron Man showed up again,
right? If Iron Man showed up, if Thor showed up, if Black Widow showed up, I would hate it. But since it's Nick Fury, the puppet master behind all the puppets, then yeah, I'm okay with it.
All right.
I don't want it to be something that starts happening more and more. Like you said, I would like a solo movie to be carried on the back of that said character. That's how you build the character.
Like Ragnarok.
Right.
Ragnarok, we had a solid Thor movie.
Yeah.
Even Hulk is there.
Right.
But, like, you never got one mention. Well, you got a couple mentions. Like, we worked together, but other than that, you never actually, like, Nick Fury just didn't come walking out on a different planet, you know what I mean?
Right. So I liked it.
Right.
Nick Fury says that he wants Spider-Man to get dressed and come with him, which, if I had a nickel for every time Samuel L. Jackson told me that...
Put your pants on.
I know, I'd be a rich guy. And then we start getting introduced to what I'm going to call the Elementals right now.
Okay, so... in this trailer, did you automatically think this is the same monster person when you were seeing those different snapshots?
I think it's several different people.
Or is there several different monsters?
I think it's a group of people.
Okay, because a lot of people on the internet tend to seem to believe that this is one person who has control of all the elements,
and that would be cool.
But when I got the impression when I watched the trailer, I thought it was like. And they didn't show a
fire.
They showed fire, water, and earth.
Earth, right.
They didn't show a wind.
Right.
So
it could be just one person. Now, here's a question I want to pose to you. Are they using this kind of style? Because like I was explaining this to Jess earlier, is that there's already, in the Spider-Man lore, there's Hydro Man.
Right.
And there's Sandman.
Right.
Is Marvel not allowed to use the names of villains? So, because, like, you know, because they never actually, they said Shocker in Spider-Man Homecoming, but they didn't actually use it. They never actually called Michael Keaton the Vulture. So can they call him Hydro Man? Can they call him Sandman? And if not, is this their way of getting around it? Because that's what I think is going on right now.
I think it all depends on who is written into this extension contract.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
If Mysterio is
yeah,
a huge character, and
they're not gonna
be able to call him
right.
Mysterio,
They're not gonna call him Mysterious. They're not gonna call him that weird guy. Oh my god! Could you imagine if
look,
we
it's
show
Mysterious.
Look, it's Mysterious.
And then they wink at them like, no! Start flipping tables and kicking
would,
people in the head.
I'd lose my mind. So that's what I think is going on. But we're introduced to the Elementals. Because I'm going to say it's more than one person.
Okay.
Or the Elemental. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it was different.
I think it's more than one person.
Me too.
Right. And they're tearing apart London and Barcelona. Yeah.
Isn't it Barcelona?
Yeah, but when you say it, like, if you're Spanish, you would say Barcelona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or if you have a lisp. Barcelona.
Yeah, you got me there. And then, out of nowhere, a nice little puff of green smoke drops down. And no, it's not Cheech and Chong, ladies and gentlemen.
Why not?
It's effing Mysterio.
Yeah. Alright, so this is another thing that everyone on the internet seems to have thought and are saying, that Spider-Man was fighting these villains and Mysterio shows up and they team up to help each other.
That's what we've been told for the last couple of weeks.
I didn't get that from that at all.
Alright, so what we've been told is that Spider-Man teams up with Mysterio because they're both brought in by S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right, which we didn't see that either.
We didn't see that at all.
All we saw was Mysterio fighting the Elementals.
Yeah.
And then he looks at the camera
Yeah.
and says, "You don't want to be a part of this," or something like that.
Right.
And then they show like a bunch of flashes of just random stuff of Spider-Man. They show him getting hit by the water.
They
show
show
him
the
in a
stealth
black
suit. Yeah.
But they don't actually show who he's talking to when he says that.
Right.
They don't show him fighting with Mysterio at all.
Right.
So it looked. And here's a little theory I came up with while watching this trailer.
Here we go.
What if Mysterio is failing at whatever he's failing at, with taking from his comic book backstory,
right?
And maybe pulls a hired villain situation to make him look good while using his magic and gimmicks to stop the villains.
So he's the baddie the whole time.
So he hired the Elementals to fight them, but he doesn't actually have powers.
You know, it's funny that you say that because there's another Jake Gyllenhaal movie that I thought that was going to be the plot, Nightcrawler.
Yeah, what about
I thought that Lou Bloom was going to be hiring these people to commit crimes so that he can film them.
That makes sense.
I know. That's what I thought. That's exactly like when the movie first came out. Before I saw it, I was like, "That's what's going to happen. He's going to be hiring these people to commit crimes so he can film it." But anyway,
but doesn't that make
it does make makes a lot of sense?
Because I watched the trailer today, and old McGee was like, "Mysterio doesn't have powers. Why is he shooting green laser beams?" And I went, "Yeah, you're right." And then my gears started turning, and I went, "Oh shit! What if he hired them?
Yeah.
So he can look like he's fighting them off, and maybe that's why he doesn't want Spider-Man to step in, because he wants all the glory."
True.
And then he gets mad at Spider-Man because Spider-Man does step in and take all the glory.
What if?
Boom!
What if?
Sorry, spoilers.
What if Mysterio is brought in by S.H.I.E.L.D. to do this, and he's doing a good job, and Spider-Man gets jealous because no one's talking about Spider-Man? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going.
I think mine was better.
I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I've been. I don't know where I will be. I don't know.
I'm calling that though. Right?
All right, I like it.
That.
I like it. We'll be there opening day, July
theory.
5th. We'll be there, and we'll be able to see
Everybody's
what goes
got their
down.
fan theories.
So what was your overall? Oh, okay. Real quick before I ask that question, we got to see the dome.
Oh,
We
one
got-
second,
yeah,
right at the end,
tiny little
he's like
second.
stopping that big puff of
Yeah.
smoke, and his dome pops off,
Yeah.
and I went,
He's got his dome.
and
Yeah,
everybody in the shop turned and looked at me, and I'm like, not like he wasn't giving anyone head.
Yeah.
Like he's fishbowl.
I said the same thing. I was at home and I was like, because when they first show him, it's just Jake Gyllenhaal's face.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh crap. And then they blah blah blah, scenes go on, and then it shows him flying around, he's got the dome on, and I was like, oh yeah!
It was like 1 second too, man. They flashed it so fast.
So I was really amped about that.
But that's the picture I've been seeing all over the internet, is him going like that, holding the smoke back with the dome.
Thoughts on the trailer?
I'm more pumped about this than I was the first one.
Yes. Agreed.
I'm still on the fence of whether it's my Spider-Man.
Okay.
Like, personally, I still like the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Okay.
Those are the high point for me right now.
I can understand what you're saying. I thought the Amazing Spider-Man was doing some really nice things until they got all fucked up by Sony.
Come at me, internet. I know you hate it. I know you hate Andrew Garfield. I don't know why.
Flipping the bird.
Everybody hates those movies.
Give him the bird.
But Tom Holland, I don't get a Spider-Man vibe from him. And the writing there's something about the writing that just... I was really thinking about Homecoming. When I saw this trailer, I went back and I was thinking about Homecoming, and I'm like, there's some things in there that I have actually finally nailed down of why I didn't like that movie. Like, there's no scenes in that whole movie where he's actually web swinging through a city.
Right.
Not one.
No. Maybe, possibly...
He's in a suburb, running through backyards at one point.
Possibly the beginning montage.
He's locked in a bunker. He goes to Washington, D.C. He's on the monument. Other than that, he's in an airport fighting Vulture. I didn't want to watch him fight Vulture in an airport.
Yeah.
Like, I really hope in this one... And they're in London. They're not even in a good place for him to be swinging around. Like, there's some big buildings in London.
No, that's true. That's true. You're not going to get the size of what you would over here. I thought the trailer was fantastic.
It was cut well.
Yes.
I didn't really care for the Aunt May happy flirting scene.
That was unnecessary.
I get
that
it.
was so
Marissa Tomei is hot.
And if it I tell you what, if it turns out, if we're like if after this movie or during it or whatever, if it ends up that Happy Hogan and Aunt May end up in a relationship, that's gonna suck.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I understand. We're not going off the comic books anymore. We're doing our own thing. We're building our own stories. Yada yada yada. But that's just not right. That's I don't dig that. I don't like that.
We got no Uncle Ben.
Although
I did see
his suitcase.
Yeah, I did see that. I
the
saw
RP.
an image. Yeah.
Yeah, the RP on his suitcase, which we might get some backstory.
Yeah.
Which would like I said, it's the same thing with Batman.
There was a line in Homecoming where she says about his uncle dying.
I don't want to lose you, lost, blah, blah, blah.
Because I thought there was. Everybody acts like they have no idea what happened to Uncle Ben, and I was pretty sure there was something.
And that's the thing. That's like the same thing with Batman, is that we know what happened. We've seen it 100 times.
Why do we need to see Tom Holland in a crying scene?
Right, we don't need to see it. But if they start to explore it after the fact, I could be into that.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, and it is kind of that thing that you wonder, like, why is he not wondering about this? Why is he not blah blah blah?
Right.
Maybe we find out that maybe Nick Fury's like, I knew your dad. I worked with your dad.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
Yeah, that's another thing I kind of have to complain about this Tom Holland Spider-Man is, like, there's no emotion in any of it. Like, Tom Holland never once is worried or distraught or sad.
Yeah.
He's always just kind of like he's not cracking jokes all the time, but he's just like happy.
Right.
Like all the time.
Yeah.
He's just in a good mood.
Yeah.
He's never he's fighting people to the death here.
Yeah.
And he's never worried once, except for when the building fell on his head and he was afraid he was going to die.
Yeah. No, yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts of Homecoming.
That was,
when he lifted up the building.
No,
that was
I
like
agree.
one of the only parts where I was like, yes, because
Yeah.
there was actually some emotion there.
Yeah.
So I just hope in this one, I hope they fix some of the stuff from Homecoming. I hope we get to see a lot more web swinging, a lot more combat with the web swinging.
Yeah.
I hope we get a little bit more emotion in the character. That's why everybody fell in love with the scene in Infinity War with him dying.
Right.
It was because it was like probably one of the first times you actually got to see that character in turmoil. Like he knew he was gonna die. Like
No, I agree. I agree completely.
Give me some more depth.
Right, yeah, you need to
this
flesh that character out.
Right.
And just because it's an MCU movie or it's a superhero movie, it doesn't have to be so cookie cutter. It can have heart and it can have feelings to it. Spider-Man: Far From Home teaser, the 2.5 minute teaser trailer. I give it 2 thumbs up. I give the teaser trailer 2 thumbs up, which is basically the fucking trailer. 2.5 minutes.
I gave it 1.5.
Like,
or it has to be like 1.5.
There it is. That's what it looks like. No, I like the other way better. Yeah, I like that better.
Gotta turn it sideways so they can see.
July 5th, 2019, Spider-Man.
You got a long wait.
Far From Home. You got a long wait, but it might be worth it.
I keep typing stuff.
I see that. C9 me.
Come.
C9 me.
C9 me.
C9 me.
Sounds dirty.
Does sound dirty. Moving on. That's it for the Marvel news today, which we're like 46 minutes into
the
episode.
Well, you gotta think 10 minutes were the card just sitting there.
Oh, okay, cool.
We were on the stuff.
Good.
So we're only probably around like a half hour, maybe 40 minutes right now.
Sweet. All right, because we got a lot more to talk about.
And who cares? We're live.
We're live.
Where everybody at? Where you at?
Where you at, homies?
Come down to the studio. Let's party.
That'd be cool. We could invite some people over, have an audience.
Yeah, dude.
That'd be interesting.
Convince this motherfucker to start doing his new series.
I know. I gotta work on it.
I got a wedgie I'm gonna fix right now, and I apologize.
Dude, fix it up while we bring in this next topic. So, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. It was announced. There was a big announcement this week. Fox is canceling.
They finally
movies.
put the nail in the coffin.
That is it. That is it. It was announced this week that
fidgety.
X-Force, which would have been the 3rd Deadpool movie.
Right.
X-Force, Gambit, and the Doctor Doom solo movie have been canceled.
Canceled.
Done.
Just like this show.
Canceled.
We're out.
Nothing more.
You're fired. Well, it makes sense.
Right.
We got the contract finalizing what, in like spring?
Yes.
Early summer.
Yeah, it should be early summer, and then all the pieces should be in play by the fall.
So it makes sense for them to. Obviously, we got Dark Phoenix coming out.
Yeah.
That's a definite, and New Mutants is still slated for August.
Yeah.
So we are getting the New Mutants. But if a movie hasn't gained traction yet, if it hasn't gotten off the ground, if they have nothing started, why wouldn't they cancel it at this point?
So
they're not going to be allowed to do anything here soon.
Here's a little snippet from the article, which was on comicbookresources.com, which says, not a huge surprise, but from what I hear, Gambit and Doctor Doom are officially dead. As for X-Force, it's not officially dead, but they only have 2 months to start filming, and that's not going to happen.
Right.
So, not happening, not with Fox anyway.
Right.
Could still
Obviously
possibly
Disney could, but they're not going to. I don't understand why everybody thinks that all these properties, like, I don't think we're ever going to see another Deadpool.
No.
And everybody seems to think that there's going to be another Deadpool.
Correct.
I understand that Ryan Reynolds loves the character, but Ryan Reynolds doesn't own the character.
Yeah.
And that character is going to Disney. And Disney has a lot of other things to worry about on their plate right now. Rather than trying to pick up things that were somewhat money makers over at Fox. Like, Deadpool did well, but Deadpool 2 didn't come close to any of these past couple Marvel movies.
Right.
Like Black Panther and Infinity War and, even Ant-Man made decent money. I don't see them caring about you wanting these things.
Yeah.
Like, maybe at some point down the line, but it's not going to be a sequel.
Grain of salt. Let me just say before we go on, grain of salt taking these rumors, because these are just rumors, but it's rumors that we know to be truths. We know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no point in a solo Doctor Doom movie when the whole entire property is jumping over to Disney where you can introduce it better? You don't need a solo Doctor Doom movie because you have a brand new Fantastic Four that you have to introduce.
Right.
So why?
Do you think Channing Tatum is just like somewhere crying?
I don't think Channing Tatum has thought about the Gambit movie.
You don't think?
For like
You don't think he's wanted that
years.
thing for like a
I
Ryan Reynolds
don't-
thing
I
where
think-
he just
no,
wanted it
I think-
like deep down in his bones for 10 years?
I think
never
he,
got it.
I think he's over it. I think he's
I just like to picture him
over
like
it.
Remy LeBeau.
Remy LeBeau. No, it doesn't make sense. No, it does not make sense. Not unless
Because
Disney's
we got that
planning-
weird rumor like early spring last year
Yeah.
where they said that the Gambit film was going forward and
Yeah,
it was
and
going
then
to be
they
like
lost-
a rom-com.
And then they lost the director, and then they announced it was going to be a rom-com, and then we didn't hear anything about it until now.
Thank God it is buried and dead.
Yeah.
No offense, Channing Tatum.
No offense.
but I never
No.
wanted to see you on
Never.
the big screen as Gambit.
Never.
Not once.
I I was explaining this earlier to Jess. I just brought it up because I need someone to talk to these days. It doesn't make sense for it to jump. It just does not.
No.
And Ryan Reynolds should be proud of what he did, and he should be happy with what he did. And yeah, if Disney decides that in a couple of years they want to bring Deadpool back, sure, Ryan Reynolds should be open to it. But let's forget about it right now. And
I don't see that happening either. When time passes like that, it's weird for the audience.
yeah,
Like Deadpool 2 worked because you were coming straight off of Deadpool 1 and everybody was on that high and they saw the after credits scene and they wanted to see Cable and all this stuff. And now it sucks because you
That's
busted
the
out
thing.
some really good
All right,
characters.
so
like Cable
is that
was amazing.
that's an interesting question because I'm of the belief that Deadpool 1 was better than Deadpool 2, hands down. Was the only reason you were excited for Deadpool 2 was the introduction of Cable?
No.
Because I feel like that's where I'm at.
No. I liked Deadpool 1. So that's why I was excited for Deadpool 2. The fact that they chose to introduce one of my all-time favorite characters of the Marvel Universe didn't hurt.
Right.
And they nailed it on who they picked for the character. What's his face? The actor?
Who played Cable? Brolin?
Brolin. Josh Brolin nailed it, and it kind of sucks that now it's dead.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The fact that Josh Brolin's already under a contract with Marvel, does that help his chances of continuing to be Cable in a different series?
I think it does.
Rather than Ryan Reynolds working for Fox and not anything
I don't think
Disney?
I don't think we're gonna see. I don't think there's gonna be too much more Thanos, or maybe another movie or two possibly. So yeah, why not give Brolin Cable whenever?
See,
the
that
X-Men franchise jumps?
makes way more sense to me. Is if they're going to think about doing anything in that direction, an X-Force movie without Deadpool, no offense,
Doesn't work.
makes sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Because
no.
Cable
Yeah.
runs the X-Force.
Right.
There's so many other players who were on the X-Force team other than Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool was on the X-Force for a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me. But pulling a franchise that was built by Fox, the Deadpool movies,
No.
over to a completely different company and trying to make it work it's not happening.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's
make
not
sense,
happening.
right?
Just like that would be like expecting the X-Men universe that's already built to continue on Disney.
I know. It's obscene to think like that, but there's I don't want the X-Men universe to continue, but I would like to see some of the actors keep portraying their roles.
Well, that's what people want. Mainly, like you said about Ryan Reynolds.
I would, I want to see Fassbender, Nicholas Holt, and Ty
Unfortunately,
Sheridan.
I think this is it.
I
Enjoy
know.
Dark Phoenix
I
because
know.
we're gonna have all new actors, which
I know.
isn't a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad
I
thing.
mean, if you're gonna start a whole new universe and a different franchise, then give me something fresh.
Right.
I want to see someone else portray Wolverine.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Hugh Jackman was perfect,
Agreed.
but it's over.
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on. Yes, Fassbender was the perfect Magneto.
Yeah.
And we got some amazing scenes with him as Magneto.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not gonna like act like we didn't get to see that pan
Right.
out. Like we got to see him in Apocalypse doing some amazing things, even though people hate that movie. Also,
I have First Class and Days of Future Past at home, and I love to watch them.
I have
And
Apocalypse if you want to borrow it.
oh, nice, neato. I have a lot of time on my hands,
'Cause,
so I'm gonna take
the-
that up on you. Take that.
Because
up
the
on
scene
you.
where
Take
he's
that
kind of
up
like
on you.
moved on and he's living with his family in
Right.
the woods, and then
It's
they,
heavy
they
shit.
come murder them and
It's heavy
like,
shit.
Yeah, and
It's heavy shit.
it's a really really good scene.
Fox, Marvel, it was good to know you. You did some alright things. You did a lot more worse things. It was good to know you. But we're moving
Yeah, let's move on, everybody. Everybody just kind of like stop dwelling on the Fox thing.
Yeah.
Like, it happened.
Fuck
It's
Deadpool.
over. I mean, I like the Deadpool movies.
I like him,
You watched,
but I like
you watched
him.
number 2 once.
I
by
like
the
him.
way,
I like him.
and you probably don't remember much of it.
I remember all of it.
No,
I have a great memory.
no.
I was pretty drunk, but I
Wait
remember all
until
of it.
you watch it again, because I am gonna buy it eventually,
Uh,
and then give your opinion.
alright, I will, and it'll be the same as it is today.
'Cause it was a good movie. Definitely packed
I like the first one
too
better.
much. Well, yeah, but I mean, isn't that with with most sequels?
True. Moving on. It was announced. Get out of here. It was announced last week that Paramount.
What, did that throw you off a little bit?
Paramount.
My name is.
Paramount Studios has apparently, allegedly abandoned.
Paramount has apparently
I did that on purpose.
permanently,
They have.
perpetually.
They've canceled the J.J. Abrams Star Trek universe.
Bye bye.
So they will not be moving forward with the 4th movie, and we talked about this.
We knew
We talked about
it
this
was
months
gonna
ago.
happen.
We talked about
It
how
just
they
hadn't
couldn't
been finalized.
they couldn't come to terms with Chris Pine.
They
They
say
couldn't.
Chris Pine wouldn't come back, would he?
He wanted a lot more. He
Ah.
had made a ton of money coming off of Wonder Woman, so yeah, he wanted a bigger contract. Chris Hemsworth, they lowballed the shit out of him at the time of contract, and now that it's post Infinity War and he's one of the biggest stars on the planet, he tried to restructure.
Did I ask this before? I didn't even know Chris Hemsworth was in.
Chris Hemsworth was in the opening scene of the first Star Trek movie, the J.J. Abrams, and he is
When they're in the Academy thing.
no. Whenever he is
Skydiving?
he's the captain of the Enterprise, and he sacrifices himself to save everybody, including his unborn son.
Oh, and this next one was
James
supposed
T.
to have
Kirk.
time travel in it, so he was
Right.
supposed to be in it. I got
Right.
you. I got you.
And apparently, the contract with Zoe Saldana is not doing well either, because she's coming off of the back of Infinity War, also stepping into the next 3 installments of Avatar. So she's got a lot of money going her way. So apparently, they just could not come to terms on contract.
I heard Abrams didn't really want to.
I heard that as well. Abrams was not interested really at all.
I'm
in
sure.
continuing.
Here's my thing about Abrams. I am very sure that Disney put as much money in a beautiful freaking, what do they call the boats that are
Gondola?
no, a boat.
A gondola's a boat?
Is it?
It's like what they use in Italy with the guys?
No, like a big boat that you live on.
A cruise ship?
No, like rich people have them.
A yacht.
A yacht. They found the most expensive yacht they could get. They packed it with as much money as they could, and
Yeah.
they backed it right up onto
probably-
Abrams' front yard.
It's probably money in Nutter Butters, because I feel
And they
like
went,
J.J. Abrams likes him in Nutter
Please come back to do episode 9.
Butters. Yeah.
And he went, but I got this other stuff. And they were like, here's more.
Yeah.
And then he was like, all right.
No, you're probably right.
Because everybody hated episode 8.
I know, right? It's hard
So,
to think of it like numbers.
I feel like he's probably right here. I think Disney has a lot more money than whoever
Yeah.
Paramount is doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
didn't even know Paramount was still a thing.
No,
Like,
let me just say, before you guys start thinking that we're just bashing the Abrams Star Trek movies, I like them. I like Star Trek Into the Darkness, Star Trek Beyond. I like
I
them.
didn't know there was 3. I thought there was 2.
I like them a lot, and I think they're fantastic movies. And I'm not happy to see them canceled. I would like to see a 4th one. Although, of course, it's not going to happen, but I would like to see it. Now, there's also the thought that Paramount's not too keen on keeping this going because we have so many other Star Trek properties going right now. We have Discovery on CBS.
Jean-Luc Picard one coming back.
Right, we got the Jean-Luc Picard with what's his name?
I don't know, dude.
Patrick Stewart.
I said all day I could not think of his name.
Patrick Stewart.
All day I was like kept saying Professor X because I couldn't think of his name.
Patrick Stewart, and then we also have the alleged Quentin Tarantino Star Trek project still in the works.
I don't know about all this Star Trek bullshit.
I see. He doesn't like Star Trek. I like Star Trek. So
Why?
why do I like it?
Yeah.
Because I fell in love with the original. The original arc,
I got some comic books
66 to
69. I want him out of my house.
I don't care for the Next Generation.
Is that what that is?
That's the one with Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh, I was gonna say that's not what those are.
No, I like the original.
Those are
I like
Deep
Shatner.
Space, something.
Oh, I don't really care for Deep Space. Yeah, I
well,
really.
they're comic books and you're taking them.
Okay,
so.
fine. I like Star Trek, and I like what it does, and I like the stories that the original, explored, and I just, and I really liked what they did with the J.J. Abrams movies. But at the same
They were
time,
definitely more interesting than the old shit.
if Paramount is unwilling to restructure contracts or renegotiate, then yeah, the movies have to die.
Yeah.
They gotta die, and that's gotta be it. And then I get to go through life not knowing what will happen.
What were you wondering?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. There was nothing even left, so
I was wondering
F
what.
it. You got a trilogy out of it. Why not?
I did get a trilogy.
Why not?
Anton Yelchin passed away, so of course you couldn't have Scotty anymore, which is not Scotty.
No, Scotty was
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg. The right away character.
I forget his name.
The one that no one cared about in the show. That
No, I
always
forget.
died and then was just mysteriously back.
I forget his name. So anyway,
Odd
yeah.
Thomas.
Odd Thomas. So
name.
yeah, J.J. Abrams' Star Trek is officially dead. Rest in peace. 2009 to 2018. 2009.
A lot of things died in 2018.
Ah, it's correct. Oh, is it 2019 yet? What year is this?
Yeah, I think we're a couple weeks in.
What year is this? Oh, it is 2019. Okay, yeah, okay. I don't know what year it is. That's my problem. Moving on, we got some reboots to talk about.
Reboots! Our favorite thing in the entire world.
We just love to talk about reboots, don't we?
If this were the old podcast,
Yeah.
this would be like reboots episode 15.
Yeah.
We talk about reboots a lot.
So Corey sent me an interesting article.
Was it though?
No. It was announced last week that the Final Destination film franchise is in reboot development with the Saw franchise writers. So the guys that brought you the one good Saw movie and the nine others that followed. Hey, what? Hey, what?
They got some cool, intertwined, good storytelling in those 10 mind-numbingly bloody gore porn movies.
Gore porn.
If you actually somehow make it through the gore porn part of the movies, it is crazy how the movies all connect. It is. I have to give them that. I mean, I didn't watch 10.
No, I don't.
And I didn't watch Jigsaw.
I didn't
which
watch
just
Jigsaw.
came out.
Yeah.
I did watch 1, 2, 3. I went to the theater for all 3 of those. I think I didn't go to the theater for 4 and 5, but I did watch them. I think I made it to 7.
There you go.
I don't know if I ever watched, because I actually one of my buddies in high school had the whole box set,
Ooh.
but 9 and 10 hadn't came out yet. So I think I watched 1 through 8. You know what I noticed in those movies?
What's that?
Not one, and thank you for this, whoever the franchise is that made that. There's never one testicle scenario. Out of
Do you
all,
want it? Do
no,
you-
no. I said
Oh.
thank you. Out of all the hard to watch, most like disgusting, creative, elaborate ways to kill someone, they never
No penis.
touched anyone's balls.
No genitals at all.
No, there's some vagina stuff.
Is
in
there?
Like,
I don't know.
The one where the chick gets frozen and like, I'm pretty sure her like stuff just breaks off. But I don't think that was because of anyone doing anything. I think it was just because she was frozen. But like, no one ever like put someone's balls on some like stretcher or something and ripped them off, or like just like no one ever. And I attribute that to like most of the writers were probably dudes.
Yeah.
And you don't even want to think about that kind of stuff. You
Right.
can do all the most gory things you can think of, but don't touch the balls.
Don't touch the balls. According to THR, New Line Cinema wants the latest Final Destination film to be a reimagining of the series. Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan, who wrote Saw 4 through Saw 3D, which does not make sense, will be writing the script for the 6th installment of the Final Destination. Right? Why would they say, was Saw 3D after Saw 4? I just don't get it. No plot details have been revealed as of yet. Each film in the original franchise follows a group of people who, after escaping death, are then the victims of unforeseeable and often random fatal accidents. The franchise got its start in 2000 when Final Destination was released. 4 sequels followed, with the latest, Final Destination 5, being released in 2011. The franchise has earned over $665 million at the global box office. Do you care?
Okay, so I liked Final Destination 1.
I liked Final Destination 3.
I liked Final Destination. I don't know if I remember Final Destination 2.
The three
I remember 3D
3 was the one
with
with
the roller coaster.
with the girls in the tanning beds.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was 3.
Yes. I
And
like
it was
that
also the one that me and you had watched that had the song, "There is someone
No, that.
walking behind you."
Oh, that was
Turn
that.
around.
Yeah.
That's why you like 3.
I thought
because
that was-
me and you watched it in my bedroom.
For a second, I
We were,
thought that
like
was
16.
For a second, I thought that was Jeepers Creepers.
No.
What was the song from Jeepers Creepers?
I
It's a
don't
Jeepers Creepers song. Jeepers Creepers.
Where'd you get those
Where'd you get those
peepers? How the hell does that even come close to that
I have
song?
no idea.
No,
So yeah.
the one where there's the dude in the drive-through and there's like the thing
And the
rolling down, the
pipes.
pipes rolling down the hill.
Yeah, and it comes through his head or something. And I always, anytime I'm driving behind a logging truck, I always think of the second one.
Yeah. Okay, so the second one's where the dude gets his head cut off, and then the one with a log goes through the truck. And
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I like the first 3.
The first 3 are good, and then after that it sucked.
I don't remember any ones after
I
that.
know. I saw. I think it was the 4th one. I saw it, or maybe it was the 5th one. I don't know.
When was the last one made?
2011.
Has it been long enough to creatively come back to a franchise like that, or do you got some good ideas of how to take people
Well, and it's
out?
funny. It's funny because they say reboot, but then they also say that these 2 new writers will be writing the 6th installment. So they're
So
rebooting.
is it a reboot sequel?
It's well, they in this article alone they say reboot, reimagining, and they will be continuing the story.
Okay, so like
So there's a lot of words in this article that I don't know if they go together.
well, a reboot can be a sequel.
yes.
Like I consider this new Men in Black a reboot sequel.
yeah,
Like what do we say? An extension.
an extension.
So if they're doing that, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already a long running. I mean, is it considered gore porn? Kind of. Death porn?
Death porn.
Like-
yeah, death porn.
Then keep it going.
We said
Whatever.
porn a lot in this episode so
Yeah,
far.
corn.
Corn porn. Ricky Dorn.
Um,
Roger Dorn, third baseman in the movie Major League with Charlie Sheen. That's it. Roger Dorn.
That's who we. Would
That's
not
I
think.
cannot remember that. I don't know why I was trying.
No, it's just it's one of those things where like we're in the. I thought we were past the era of reboots.
Yeah.
But apparently, with all these new ideas floating around, we still got those guys that are just like, we want to keep pushing. Are you looking for a time?
Nope.
Oop.
I can see the time. see
So
that.
we're probably around an hour right now.
Coolio. Speaking of reboots, we're gonna move on from Final Destination.
Did you not know that this was happening?
I did not.
I talked about this a long time
I
ago.
don't know. If
I
that's
said
true
that
or
I didn't
not.
understand. All right, so before I go into it,
Okay.
old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is getting rebooted again.
Again.
But I knew that.
Right.
Probably like early spring of 2018, maybe before that, right after. Not right after, but right after the second TMNT came out on streaming services, and I
Yeah.
finally got to watch it.
Right.
I had read that they were talking about rebooting it, and the reason I thought it was so weird was because Michael Bay's name was still attached to it.
Ugh.
He was producing
Gross.
rather than directing. And that is one of the weirdest reboot scenarios I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
You're rebooting a franchise that this man just butchered,
Yeah.
but you're letting him oversee it with his money?
It's the same thing that's going on with Transformers. Michael Bay's a producer on Bumblebee.
But Bumblebee did well.
Yeah. Well, it's
Okay,
got-
so as long as you keep him away,
Right.
we'll use your money. We'll just keep you out of the creative process.
Yeah, seems right.
So,
So the gentlemen that are running the company Dunes,
which is
Uh,
Michael Bay's production company.
right, which are the people that brought us A Quiet Place,
Right.
are getting ready to reboot the Ninja Turtles franchise.
Okay, so what does this mean? Does it mean anything? Because I say no. You got to remember, people, directors are different than producers.
Yes.
Writers are different than producers.
Yes.
Producers are the money.
Yes.
Producers are why something's happening,
Right.
not if it's good or not.
Yes.
So just because these people gave John Krasinski the money to make A Quiet Place, which was a great movie,
Right.
does not mean you can watch A Quiet Place and go, oh, yeah, I would love for the people who worked on this to work on a TMNT movie.
Right.
There's no... Putting that name in there does not change anything.
Nothing.
Doesn't, like, when you hear that, like, I had been talking to someone about this, and I said, the producers from A Quiet Place are also producing the new TMNT movie, and they went, oh, that's great, John Krasinski. And I went, no, John
Nope.
Krasinski wrote
Yep.
A Quiet Place, but he has nothing to do with TMNT.
Right.
So you got to keep that in mind.
Yes.
Do you think, moving forward with this,
Yeah.
what do you expect to see visually? Because obviously a TMNT movie, first and foremost, yes, we want good writing.
Of course.
But the first thing you're going to notice is, what do they look like?
What do they look like? What do they look like? I want, you know what I want? You know what I want? You know what I want? I want more 90s turtles. I want real people in costumes. I don't want CGI turtles. I want real people in real costumes. And then, hey, you know what? Sure, give me John Krasinski as Leonardo or Donatello.
I mean, we had a lot of good actors in those suits.
Yeah.
People don't realize
Right,
that. That
exactly.
like, you know, Corey Feldman did
Yeah.
Donatello's voice,
Right.
and what's his face in The Cab, who was also in Law and Order and was also in a lot of other movies,
Yeah.
did Raphael's voice.
Right.
I can't remember his name right now.
No, I want real people in costumes.
At least doing me voice acting.
Yeah. No, I don't want any.
Because you need martial artists in the costumes.
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah, right.
voice acting.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Because Corey Feldman wasn't in the Donatello costume.
Right. No, I want a sense of realism. I don't
Yeah.
want, I don't want this. They're
CGI.
aliens. They're aliens or something.
Okay, so the problem is it's still, yes, it's Paramount,
Yeah.
but Paramount owns Nickelodeon.
Right.
Nickelodeon is the name on TMNT
Yeah.
right now. They introduced in the animated series, the first rebooted animated series, was like 2015, 16. They introduced the alien thing.
Okay.
So I don't think that's going away.
Good. Ugh. Gross.
Good.
I wasn't listening. I was
know.
reading.
I don't think that's going away. I think they're always going to be aliens from now on.
Ugh.
I don't think we'll ever go back to the ooze.
I want the ooze.
They're not mutants.
I
They
wanna-
can't use the word mutant, I don't think.
It's a different company.
Doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure the word mutant is owned by Fox.
Interesting.
That's why Marvel could never say it.
Yeah.
They had to say enhanced person
Yeah.
or
But if they were talking about the characters, I mean, the word you can't copyright a word.
you can copyright a dance. Why can't you copyright a
You
word?
can totally copyright a dance. All right. Let me just read a little something here from the people at Dunes. When asked what was on the docket for their company, Jack Ryan Season 2 just wrapped on Amazon, which is starring John Krasinski.
Right. I tried watching it. I didn't like it.
The sequel for A Quiet Place is in the works.
I thought it was done.
It might be
I
done.
thought it was wrapped.
Which would be nice to not see.
Why are we having a sequel to that?
I know, it does not make sense. And we're doing a reboot for the Ninja Turtles at Paramount. That is looking like production by the end of the year.
Yeah, so nothing's decided.
No.
We're not even. There's probably a very early stage of finding writers at the moment
Yes.
because there's no way anything's decided.
Yes.
My personal, and you need to listen because I love these characters with all my heart, all my soul. These are my boys.
Mhm.
Like, there's nothing else in this world like this weird nerd genre that I care about more
Talk it up, I'll be right back.
than TMNT. You need to learn from the people who are doing the Dark Crystal prequel on Netflix. They didn't go, oh, we're in 2018, 2019, we need to CG it up. They watched that movie. They saw the time and the effort and the love and the care put into every detail of every animatronic and real, tangible made thing in that movie. There's not one speck of CG in The Dark Crystal. And you know who was responsible for that? Jim Henson. Jim Henson's Creature Shop. Jim Henson's Creature Shop is still around.
Yeah.
It is still a thing. It is making it helped out in The Force Awakens.
Yep.
It helped in a lot, and basically anything with what's the word I'm looking for?
Live action.
Not live action.
Animatronic.
Not animatronic. What's the physical? Not CG. Practical. Practical effects. They help out in so many different places that you don't know about. Now, the people who are rebooting not rebooting, but doing the prequel to Dark Crystal, they didn't even hesitate. They got Jim Henson's Creature Shop to come back to do it.
Right.
You know who did the turtles in the first movie?
Jim Henson.
Jim Henson's Creature Shop. I'm not asking you to dust off the old suits
Right.
and use them.
Yeah.
I doubt the jaws still move.
Mm.
But they could make some of the most amazing looking turtles you've ever seen. They could
Agreed.
make something that you can't even imagine. So, if you're moving forward, you just failed with CG.
Yeah.
Don't push it on us again.
Right.
Like, I don't understand why they would. If they're rebooting this fast, I feel like they have a plan. They have to have a plan, right?
Ideally, yes.
They have to realize that the CG was too much. It was too much CG on one screen.
Speaking of.
Is that an action figure?
Yeah.
Yeah. San Diego Comic-Con released, what's the company's name? I'm going to miss it. The exclusives for the 90s Turtles.
Yeah.
The 4-pack of the Turtles. Holy crap. You can't even tell that they're not in the movie.
No,
Looking at them. They're
really
beautiful.
Good. It looks really good. Yeah, I'm with you. Let's get some
Don't
practical.
give us CG.
Right. Let's get some practical stuff. Even practically make Krang. You know?
Oh yeah, certainly. Like that
give
was
us
one of my
something.
that was one of the hardest parts to watch on Into the Shadows, Out of the Shadows, or whatever. Like
Right.
you know, Bebop and Rocksteady were okay.
Yeah.
They weren't bad.
Right.
They were fun to watch. But once it got to Krang, I was like, man, Krang looks like dog shit.
Yeah.
Like the CG in these movies are bad.
Agreed.
And if you don't have the money or the creative team to do something like Infinity War did,
Yeah.
then don't try.
Right.
And don't put the movie out.
Just to put it out.
Right. Practical effects go a long way. Look at The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
They spent tons of money and time on that one scene where they go into Maz Kanata's castle or whatever.
Yep.
Almost all of that stuff was handmade.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason why you can't make 4 turtles look badass practically
Right.
right now
Agreed.
in 2019.
Ninja Turtles reboot from the guys at Dunes. We'll see. We'll see if it even
I
happens.
think it's way too soon, but
Is it, question to pose off the back of that, are they just ruining things? Are Transformers ruined? Are Ninja Turtles
they shot the
ruined?
Ninja Turtles in the head when they dropped that first one.
Yeah.
And I was like, just end it. And then they were like, well, we got this animated series. And I was like, well, the animated series is alright. And then they were like, well, now that animated series is over. We got another one coming. Oh, we're rebooting the movies too. Like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Slow your roll
Right.
on these nostalgia things.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we love the Ninja Turtles, but give us some time.
Give me
Like,
Beetleborgs before you give me another Ninja Turtles, right?
Beetleborgs.
Beetleborgs.
Man, that was a thing.
Actually, really quick before we get to the Weekly Strange, I want to talk to you about something. This weekend, I watched Bird Box.
Oh man.
Sitting around Saturday, I asked Jess, I said, what do you want to watch? She said, I've been hearing a lot of things about this Bird Box. Let's
Courtney
watch
wants
it.
to watch it too. My mom asked me too. I refuse. I
It's
refuse.
it's
something.
it is something. I gave it a C in my rating.
Okay. Were you going in biased though? Were you?
I was going in
like,
knowing that I was not going to like it, and my thoughts were confounded when I started to watch it. It is literally bits and pieces from like 10 different movies jammed into one movie. It's 2 hours and 4 minutes long. Literally 34 minutes longer than it should be. There's a lot of bullshit. There's not great scenes. There's not anything. The end is nice. The end, it wraps up in a great way, and the ending is awesome, and I love the ending. But everything up until that last 15 minutes, I fucking hated.
Really?
I
So
thought
it
it
had
was
a good
shite.
payoff, but a bad build-up.
Yeah, I thought it was
Did
shite.
you see the photos of the monsters?
Do you get to see them in the movie?
Yeah, you don't.
No.
No,
It's like
they released what the monsters look.
Oh, I don't.
They
see
actually made the monsters for the movie.
that. Then why did you fucking show them?
Because I read a whole big thing on
Ugh.
it, and they show me and Courtney were watching it, and they showed these pictures of these monsters. They look like gigantic babies,
Ugh.
like legit, gigantic rubber babies. And apparently, straight up, Sandra Bullock said they didn't show them to me until we were filming. And then the first time they revealed it to me, I burst out laughing. And she said, this is supposed to be scary. And they said, yeah, these are the monsters. And she said, okay. And she tried to roll with it. And she said the whole time she was holding back laughter.
It's funny
at these
because
gigantic babies.
it's funny because they have a part where somebody's watching the creature on like a camera in their house, which it still even affects them there, which was kind of cool to see. But whenever you see the creature, it's like you said, it's just air. It's just the leaves are moving, and it's
okay.
just wind, and
Yeah.
it's just like you can tell that there's supposed to be something there, but it's just nothing moving. So it makes sense. They probably shot it.
Well, she said when
And
they
then
were
they
filming,
fucking had to cut it out.
She told them, I can't do this. This is, if I'm laughing at it, they're gonna laugh.
Oh yeah, we're gonna rip it apart.
So they
Right.
cut out all the parts that showed it,
Yeah.
and they made it nothing.
Yeah. The scientist from Jurassic Park,
BD Wong
is in it.
BD Wong.
BD Wong is the villain in life.
He is a villain in life. He is.
So yeah,
Law and Order, Jurassic Park,
Bird Box. Bird Box is cool, and it's interesting to see where the name Bird Box comes from. It's interesting to see how that plays out.
I'm not watching it.
No,
I won't watch it.
Nah, I don't.
I'm not watching it.
I don't
You can't
recommend
make
it.
me.
I don't recommend it. Whenever she said let's watch it, I was like, ugh, 2 hours of my life.
Yeah,
is
my mom
fucking
texted
gone.
me and said, "Have you watched it?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "I think I'm gonna do it." And I'm like,
Ugh.
and then Courtney asked me, and I'm like, "We don't even have Netflix anymore, so we can't."
And we're gonna wrap up this episode with a weekly strange.
What's your favorite foods?
I
McDonald's.
like American foods.
McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, perhaps.
Maybe a little pizza.
Maybe a little pizza.
Maybe a little pizza.
It looks like his face got smashed in the pizza.
Yeah. No.
That's that orange, you know.
So this yesterday, actually, Monday the 14th of January, the University of Clemson football team, who just watched, I said watched because that's the word I just looked at, who just won the national championship, were invited to the White House, as every championship team is, of course. So, Donald Trump, in his infinite stupidity,
I don't even know what it is anymore.
so basically, since he shut down the government, there's nobody at the White House to cook meals like that.
Okay.
So, in response to his shutdown of the government, which has laid off hundreds of thousands of people and provided them without paychecks, he thought, well, I've got this party scheduled. Let me call out for hundreds of cheeseburgers from McDonald's,
I would think
Burger
that's some of their
King, and
favorite
Wendy's.
foods.
Yeah. Okay. So Donald Trump thinks that
Watch the video.
Yeah, watch
first.
the video.
If you haven't seen it yet, go watch the
If
video.
you have not
Jim.
seen anything, if you've not seen the picture of him standing in the White House dining room with stacks of
I haven't seen
cheeseburgers
that.
in boxes
He was
in front of
outside
him,
when I watched the
it's
video.
disgusting. So they grab Big Macs, which when you get a Big Mac, it's already half cold. So when you let it sit there on a fucking table for 3 hours, it gets terribly cold. These college athletes were force-fed cheeseburgers that sat on a table for
First of
fucking hours.
First of all, no one likes McDonald's anymore.
I eat McDonald's when I
Second
have
of
no
all-
other option.
Second of all, nobody likes fast food anymore.
That's not true. I like Burger King.
You like Burger King?
I love
I don't
Burger
like fast food, really. Period. I mean, I go to Sheetz once in a while for something, but even then, I'm like, meh.
No.
Just hearing it, like pizza. Yeah, sure. You want to
Pre-
have a pizza party? Have a pizza.
Pizza party!
But, like-
Premier college athletes, most of whom are getting ready for the NFL draft, do not want to shove cold fucking cheeseburgers down their throat. It's disgusting. It's disgusting to see silver platters in the White House dining room that were used for elegant events in the years prior. Like fucking dinners.
This is where we're at. So.
Dinners were fucking arranged, and like heads of state and foreign leaders were invited into this dining room to have real meals served off of fucking expensive items. Donald Trump doesn't look at it that way. Donald Trump looks at it, if I have to fucking sit here and eat a meal, I'm gonna get what I want, and I'm gonna claim that everybody else wants the same fucking thing.
Just
I'm gonna
watch the video because it's so funny
Well,
to
okay.
watch a human being who doesn't know what to say.
Yeah.
Speak.
And
Especially him, because he really thinks he knows what he's saying,
Yeah.
and so he just repeats.
And he starts off by saying, I personally bought 300 cheeseburgers for these people. And then an hour later, it was, I personally bought 500 cheeseburgers for these people. And then another hour later, it was, I personally bought over 1,000 cheeseburgers for these people. All right, I watched a great video earlier that broke down some numbers here. There's about, in average, let's say with coaches included and not including people that may not have wanted to go, there's about 124 people in the Clemson football program, coaches and players combined. over 1,000 cheeseburgers comes to 7 Big Macs per person.
And that's not including the pizza.
And that's not including the pizza, the Burger King, the chicken nuggets, the whatever, the dip, the fucking gravy bowl that was used by elegant, classy presidents is filled with condiment packages. Little fucking sweet and sour sauce packs from McDonald's. Donald Trump claims that everything was gone in an hour. So each fucking person ate 7 Big Macs by themselves in 1 hour, along with every fucking thing else. It's not the fact.
That's because people were making fun of him. So he had to like justify the fact that he bought all this fast food.
And I want to end.
For a championship team.
I want to end the Weekly Strange by saying this. I don't think it's strange that the president did this. I think he is an idiot. And I know he's an idiot. I don't think it's strange that he's an idiot. What I think
that he's the president.
Exactly. What I think is strange is that people within the White House allow him to do this stuff. I have to sit there day after day and watch this shit go on. There's not an intelligent person there, and the ones that are leave. I think it's strange that this is where we are as a country right now. I think that everybody who voted for Donald Trump is a fucking idiot, and I think if you don't see that, you're just blindly following because you're a fucking racist. I'm gonna say that right now. If you support Donald Trump, I don't want you to watch this show. I've said that before, and I'll probably say it a lot more. If you support Donald Trump, don't fucking watch this show. I don't want you. I don't want your narrow-minded thoughts enjoying my show. It's disgusting.
I think it's weird that we're at the point where like there is no defending him. So when you do ask the people who have defended him in the past, they just go, well, I'm not going to vote for Hillary.
Right.
And that's where they're at this
point. Yeah, because you don't
vote for
because you don't want it's funny because I had a conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago and they said with the way women act, of course I don't want a woman to run this country. There's a petulant child sitting in the Oval Office right now who overreacts at every little bit of criticism that he gets. Do you think that's worse than having a fucking woman? If you do, you're the problem.
Well, I mean, she was not a good choice. And I understand that.
Right.
What, was she the lesser of evils? Really?
Yeah, right? Yeah, right?
Really?
Yeah, did we avoid evil by electing Donald Trump? No, we didn't. Donald Trump, you're not my president. And hey, Donald Trump, I tell you what, you want to come on the show and have a chat? Let's do it. Challenging him right now. I know I'll never do it, so my challenge will go unanswered.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
I am the bigger man. I am better than Donald Trump.
That would be
amazing.
wild.
I would fucking I would tear him apart. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, this has been the Strange Planet Podcast. We have been your hosts. This has been
Corey James.
And I've been Anthony Zevatek. Have a strange day.
Later.
Bye.
Stop.